kids get $1,000 free? Yeah, you can get your kids or your grandkids, and you want to let others know that this is real and it's happening. Welcome to Real Everyday Wealth, where we make personal finance simple and fun. I'm Jerry, and today we're diving into something that's blowing up the news: Trump accounts. You might have heard about this, kids getting $1,000 from the government, but it is real. And there's a massive $6.2 billion donation from tech billionaire Michael Dell and his wife, Susan. Now, I'm going to show you how you can get yours, and I'm going to show you how you could actually build wealth for your family. So do me a favor, hit that button if you're excited about getting free kids money, and subscribe for more tips on building wealth. So, all right, let's get right to the basics. First off, what exactly is a Trump account? Well, they're basically investment accounts for kids, part of the big, beautiful bill that was signed into law back in July of 2025. And think of them like a mix between a college savings plan and a Roth IRA. And they're designed to help every American child start building wealth from a very young age. Now, the government kicks things off with a one-time $1,000 deposit for every U.S. citizen baby born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. That's right. Your kid is born within those years. You get $1,000 automatically seeded into their account. There's no income limits. There's no catches there, as long as they have a social security number. And it's not just for newborns. Any child under the age of 18 can have a Trump account open for them, even if they don't qualify for the government's $1,000. Look, you can have a parent or a guardian or a grandparent that handles the setup and the management until the kid turns 18. And these accounts don't officially go live till July 4th, 2026, so mark your calendars. But there is big news. It's coming from Giving Tuesday, and Michael and Susan Dell announced a whopping $6.25 billion donation, which will give an additional extra $250 to about 25 million kids aged 10 and under who live in zip codes where the median household income is $150,000 or less. What do you think about that? Now, that's on top of any government money. So what's their goal here? Well, it's to extend benefits to older kids who might have missed out on this federal seed funding. And companies are actually jumping in too. We got Uber, Navita, T-Mobile, and they're already planning to contribute to their employees' kids' accounts. And we're seeing philanthropists and charities and states and tribes. All these people can donate without any limits. And this can actually turn into a massive wealth building tool if more people and more businesses get involved. So let's talk about the money and how does this actually grow? Look, all the funds in these Trump accounts get invested into diversified, low-cost stock index funds that track the overall stock market like the S&P 500. And private companies are going to manage these. And it's all about long-term growth that compounds through compound interest over time. For example, if a kid gets $1,000 of this government seed money and their family adds any money, let's say $5,000 a year from parents or grandparents or employers or anything, and that doesn't get included in the government's part. And let's assume that it's a 7% annual return. Look, by age 18, that could grow to around $170,000. So just think about this. If they keep saving until the age of 35, this might hit $700,000 because the earlier this kid starts, the better. And that's totally life-changing. That's for education, for a first home, or starting a business, or even further down the road in retirement. So you can see how this works. But like Michael Dell, if you're a billionaire, you think this is kind of crazy, but he shared a personal story. And it was when he was 8 years old, he started with a simple savings account and he learned about compounding money. And what his goal is here is he's made it big. He wants every kid to experience that same exact thing. So with the Dell's donations, lower income families get a head start without needing to contribute right away. But is this whole scenario perfect? No, it's not. But let's be real. There are pros and cons to everything. So let's start with the plus side here, all right? It's the tax advantage. Contributions up to $5,000 a year after tax, they grow tax deferred, kind of like an IRA does. And withdrawals starting at 18 for things like college or home buying or a business startup, with some exceptions, they'll completely avoid a penalty. And it promotes financial literacy, and it could create a whole new generation of young investors who own pieces of companies like Apple or Dell or big companies, right? And there's no income requirements for the basics, so it's accessible by a lot of people. But here's the flip side. There always is, right? So on the flip side, how can you argue with money being given to your child? Well, there's critics like Amy Matussi, that's M-A-T-S-U-I, from the National Women's Law Center. She argues it might not help low-income families that much. She says many struggle with basics like food and housing for their family, but it also adds that the additional money accounts, if that family has any additional money, it could be hard to put into it. Well, yeah, but But what do you think about that? Is this a good program, or is this a good thing, or is this a bad thing? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Here's what some say, that it's a tax shelter for the wealthy, and even as a way to encourage kids to invest further down the road. Look, it's not like winning the lottery. We know that, right? But $250 from the Dells or $1,000 from the government, hey, it's a start, and it needs to be going further. So like if the kid gets a job or whatever else, put some money into it. If they get a little bit of money here or there, put some money into it. It needs to be ongoing contributions for this stuff to really compound and do well over time. But free money is free money, right? So automatic enrollment could help, but we'll see how this Treasury is going to roll this thing out. But how do you actually claim this money, right? So this is important. The accounts aren't live yet. So it's going to launch on July 4th, 2026. But here's what we do know. For newborns that are born between 2025 and 2028, the Treasury auto creates an account at birth and adds $1,000 in. So for any kid under 18, parents will file an IRS Form 4547 to open it up. And by mid-2026, you can do it online, and you go to trumpaccounts.gov. So for the Dell 250 to get that money, if your kid is under 10 and under that and qualify in that zip code, like we talked about, and there's a median household income in that zip code of less than $150,000, it should be added automatically once you claim that account. But again, check that site for details. And if you add contributions, again, you can add up to $5,000 a year from family or employers, and it's totally tax-free if your employer puts it into your kids' fund. Now, unlimited money is possible from other donors like the Dells, because we've heard people are jumping on this because they're going to get the credit for this. So how do you manage it? Well, the initial setup is through the Treasury, and that's the transfer of money. You can take it into a brokerage like Charles Schwab for even more options. Or if you're low income, you want to claim this money because it's free money for your kids, and money compounding for free, that's a good thing. And you know what? This could actually push teachers to teach financial education in schools. Do you think this is super important to teach this in schools? Because 30 states are already requiring it. But I think that if we learn earlier, I think we all have a better shot of getting ahead in life. So if you have questions about this, go ahead to the trumpaccounts.gov or the IRS site for the latest info. I'm going to put a link down in the bottom so you can follow that. But Trump accounts could be a huge step towards financial independence for the next generation. But look, like any tool, it's what you make of it. So you could start talking to your family about saving early, and who knows what happens, right? Your kid could be saying thank you one day with a yacht, right? It could gift you with a yacht. So what do you think? Is this a game changer? Is this a problem? Drop your comments below. I just really want to know what's happening. So if any of this information helped, smash that like button and subscribe for more personal finance breakdowns. I appreciate you. I thank you for watching. And just remember, wealth starts with smart choices today. So if you subscribed, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.